My review for Resident Evil 2 harped a lot on my nostalgia of the original game. That game, more than most others, is a big part of memories I've had, ones that I still reflect on fondly to this day. The game itself was also so great that its quality and my memories formed this huge presence in my heart and mind. Resident Evil 3 is a very different experience for myself in that regard. It's the only mainline entry that I've only played once, and outside of Nemesis jump scares, I really couldn't tell you much about anything else that happens during that game. Coming into Resident Evil 3 Remake was a challenge, because I was basically going into this without any nostalgia or great memories with it to hold me through. It would be the first time in a long time I'm judging a classic Resident Evil based purely on its own merits, here and now, rather than the nostalgia I had back in the day. Thankfully, the lack of familiarity was a blessing in disguise. During my playthrough, I was so engrossed and wrapped up in the experience that I completed it in a single sitting. For those who are completely in the dark, Resident Evil 3 stars veteran Jill Valentine. The story unfolds both before and after Leon and Claire's first arrival in Raccoon City in Resident Evil 2. Nemesis, the latest bioweapon from Umbrella, is out to hunt any surviving members of STARS, and this hunt takes place amidst Raccoon City's chaotic downfall. Right away, Resident Evil 3 strikes a very different tone than its predecessor. Despite similarities in the overall feel, graphic engine, and basic gameplay, Resident Evil 3 is a completely different animal in terms of its approach to design. RE2 is about mystery, survival, and watching newcomers come to grips with the zombie outbreak and becoming more confident by its conclusion. RE3 is the complete opposite. Jill has already been in zombie-infested waters, and everything about the story, gameplay, and the tone adhere to that knowledge. Case in point, the game is far less about survival, and much more about bringing the fight to the infected. Jill is extremely confident, she is brash, and she doesn't blink, even at the sight of some gross stuff. This change is represented in the game by a couple of different factors. First and foremost, the amount of weapons and ammo is significantly increased from before, but so is the sheer number of enemies at times. Jill also sports a nifty dodge, and if timed correctly she can go into a bullet time and empty the clip, or use the slow-mo to get a better tactical position. Oftentimes, you will absolutely need this technique. Even better is the dodge works in all facets of gameplay. I was able to take down Nemesis multiple times with just my pistol by careful use of the dodge mechanic. And dodging will be essential because Nemesis is just as fast and deadly as you remember him. He doesn't really jump scare as much as the original game, but every time he appears, the tension ratchets up considerably. Taking him down does come with some rewards, with rare ammo or permanent weapon upgrades. However, Jill isn't alone and Raccoon City is a big place, so during the campaign's 6 to 8 hour runtime, you can fully expect to cross paths with some new and familiar faces. Carlos, Mikhail, and Nikolai are Umbrella soldiers tasked with saving citizens from the T-virus, and Carlos provides a nice back and forth for Jill, and their chemistry adds a lot to this remake. Unlike the previous remake, however, this one changes a significant amount of content. Dynamic choices, several key boss fights, and areas are either completely changed or gone from the original game. Now, as somebody who doesn't have nostalgia for Nemesis like myself, these changes weren't much of a concern or a big deal, and the new changes added were a blast to play through. However, I will recognize that some may be let down at the altered content, but judging this as a title in the present day on its own 2 feet, the campaign and story was excellent. The heavy action focus and Nemesis being the primary antagonist drive a clear and concise message throughout the campaign from the start all the way to its end. The flow from the whole game and the lack of excess areas and forced backtracking make for a nice, fun, enjoyable ride. Visually, this engine once again delivers. I was playing on a PS4 Pro and every single scene is so gorgeous. Some sections were hideous, and no matter what happened on screen, it all performed and ran fantastically. The cast do a great job with the script, and the decidedly 80s tone of the one-liners and cheesy jokes go a long way to adding brevity. In terms of replay value, RE3 doesn't feature the alternate campaigns that 2 did, instead opting for a ton of unlocks and fun weapons to use on repeat playthroughs to get that S+ rating everyone wants. Overall, Resident Evil 3 is a great game. Without nostalgia to anchor me, it does a fantastic job of standing on its own feet for the modern era. It's a superb entry in a legendary series, and I just hope the remake train continues. I give Resident Evil 3 an 8.8. It's absolutely fun to play. It doesn't quite hit as hard as Resident Evil 2 did for me, but on its own feet, it's really fun, and I love Jill as a character. Make sure you guys don't miss it. It's great on all platforms, and I'll see all of you next time.
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life.